name is hi-rez Kelly, and joining me is Adonis, ND, and Brandon. Once again, gentlemen, how are you guys?
Doing pretty good. We had some pretty exciting matchups. Europe finally won a best-of-3 against North America. I mean, they didn't have their full roster, but...
That's right. I remember hearing Hindu Man saying that he thinks that's going to be the top 3 spots are going to be EU. Do you guys agree? It's still possible.
Literally not possible.
That's not possible.
Wait, isn't it 3 EU teams in the finals?
There's two EU.
One just got
2 NA.
Right. Never mind then. Sorry, Hindu Man.
Kelly's
Looks
math
like you're
almost as good as Hindu's.
Almost.
almost.
European used the metric system, which is maybe how we got there.
So before
I don't even know.
Also averagely.
Thank you. Yes. All right. This is an averagely start to our show as well. So before we get into Titan versus Paradigm, we're going to be talking about the MVPs. I know for the past few weeks we've actually been having voting on our esports.smygame.com.
Right.
Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that, Adonis.
Yeah, there was a couple phases to the voting. First, we wanted to recognize the top players in each role for the regions. So we did preliminary votes, and we got it down to the top players. And then from there, we moved forward, which who is the best player in each region? And I think we found the best 2.
Well, let's go find out right now what the NA MVP is.
And instead, New Barracuda, Cyclone Spin, Incon, Kiki So Cheeky.
Welcome back, guys. Those were the top 5 players that you voted for. Who did you take?
I mean, Cyclone Spin.
You took Cyclone Spin?
Yeah.
I mean, Incon was up there, too. I mean, Incon and Cyclone Spin, I think, were the keys to AFK.
Did you just try to hit me with the Incon, though?
I voted for Cyclone Spin.
Did you try to hit me with the Incon, though?
Incon's really good.
I'm like, Cyclone, you're like, Incon, though.
All right, but we do have him joining us here today. The winner and the MVP was Cyclone Spin.
Hey, Cyclone Spin, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. So the AFK Soul Laner, everyone, is the MVP for North America. Congratulations. Why do you think that you were set MVP over everyone else in North America?
Oh, that's a fun question.
Because I made all the flashy plays. Basically last hitting every kill, so everyone gave me the glory.
All right, explain to me what a flashy play that you would do is.
Pentakill?
Ooh, okay. So that's a very common occurrence for you?
No.
No? Gentlemen, do you have any questions for Cyclone Spin?
Nope. Just, you still have a game to play. How free is Snoopy going to be?
Pretty free.
Okay.
I'll make sure to focus him just for you.
Oh, thank you. Can you kill him repeatedly?
Yeah.
I'll be happy. All right. I like this interview.
The last time that you guys played TSM, it was actually a really even game. Anything you want to talk about in terms of strategy? Have you guys been preparing specifically, or are you guys going to try to stick to your normal game plan?
We usually go around by figuring out what they pick and just counter based on how they play.
Should be interesting. I'm excited. We haven't seen Cyclos and Divios face off in a long time now, and I'm excited to watch it again.
Here you go. Is your trophy a nice Swarovski crystal, totally not plastic trophy? Congratulations, Cyclone
That
Spin.
sounded sarcastic. It's not plastic.
No, it's actually really heavy.
It's very heavy.
It's
I
a very
wasn't being
nice trophy.
sarcastic at all. And congratulations. And we are going to now look at our top 5 MVPs for EU.
Adapting. Kanye Light. Pretty Prime. Real Zax. Zalia.
There it is.
Welcome back, guys. Those were the 5 contenders for the European MVP. Now, NA was pretty one-sided. It was really between Cyclone Spin and Incon, and those actually were both split by 40% and 39%. It was very close between the 2.
Wow.
Now, for Europe, the top 5 were all within 6% of each other.
Wow.
Every single player was within 6%.
That's pretty crazy, but the person that I voted for actually wound up being, and I don't think a lot of people out there would really think it should be anybody else.
It's just not. It's like, it was close, but I think it was pretty clear that Reels was the MVP of the European Summer
Congratulations.
Thank
Be
you very
careful.
much.
It's very heavy.
It is indeed.
All right, I'm going to ask the same question. What do you think made you set apart from the rest of the MVPs in EU?
I'm not sure. I play Hunter, so it's pretty easy. I just last hit people, I get all the kills and then
That's
people
exactly
think I'm
what
good.
Cyclone
That's
said.
exactly what he said, too.
So you're saying it's easy just to be MVP?
Yeah, I play a lot and I practice hard, so maybe that's a little bit of the reason. But my team's good, and I last hit a lot, so
So
it makes it all a lot easier.
What matchup are you most excited for seeing today?
I'm excited to see Paradigm
Yeah?
versus Titan. Yeah, the two EU teams go face to face. That would be good.
Which one do you think is going to take it?
I hope Paradigm takes
Oh,
it.
why?
Why is everyone
Whoa.
saying that they're hoping Paradigm's going to take
Because
it?
they're all they're great friends. I've
So you don't
known
like
them all.
Titan?
I like Titan,
Drama.
but I like Paradigm more.
I mean, okay. I mean, to be fair, Reels has been in every major European LAN or North American LAN where European teams were invited since its inception. You've actually never placed below 4th outside of this LAN.
You got 5th.
Yeah.
That's barely below 4th.
But now it's never below 5th.
yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah.
but no,
We
you
just
guys played.
changed the
You guys played fantastically, and
Thank
you'll
you very
actually be
much.
joining the casters for that first set.
I'm
So
gonna try my best.
bring some great European insight.
Oh, that's right. He's going to be joining the caster, so hopefully if we got any Reels fans in Twitch chat, they're going to be really happy.
How is Mackie, by the way?
Yeah, it was fun to play against. He surprised me. He almost 1v1 me when I was base tanking the tower there. I didn't expect that. But yeah, I think he played pretty well, to be honest. So
Well, it was great watching you play. The amusing cob was amazing, by the way.
cap.
What?
Great
Cap.
play. Great play.
thank you very much.
Keep the hives behind the walls, though.
Yeah, good idea. I'll try next time.
Brandon,
I try to keep him everywhere.
Brandon, we discussed this. No giving professional players advice.
Oh, my friend.
Reddit doesn't like it.
All right.
Reddit doesn't like it. No, but
No,
thank
but
you,
the
Marcus.
blink stingers, though.
The blink stingers.
The blink
I like that.
stingers,
They were pretty
though.
flashy.
I mean, against your mid Aries, everyone was telling me to get Aegis, but believe the hype. Believe the blink is the hype. You gotta believe in it.
All right,
Worked
thank you,
out,
Marcus. Well, we're going to get you off here in a second, but we're going to go into discussing Titan versus Paradigm. We heard it from Reels. Paradigm is the team he's looking at to win. A lot of great friends, but I don't think it'll be as simple as that. What do you think? Who do you have going in? First look, who do you think has the edge?
I mean, like, Titan obviously is the favorite here. They're the higher seed. They were the stronger team throughout pretty much always, right, since Titan really broke onto the
Yes.
scene as Aquila or whatever they were before that. And they had like 8 names.
Yeah.
Ataraxia's had
It's
like 8
Agilitas,
names.
Aquila, I don't even
Titan,
know.
right? Titan?
I
Is
think
that how you say it?
that's currently, yes.
But Paradigm has their number.
Yeah.
Like, Paradigm walks through them free. So hopefully Titan has a new game plan coming into this one because this matters a lot.
It's going to be pretty important moving forward. There's 5 players. Let's talk about Titan a little bit more. Who do you have on Titan being the person to look at?
Repicas.
Repicas? Okay.
This guy is incredible. And I know we talk a lot about adapting in Europe for best jungler. For me, it's always been Repi. For what he lacks in the ability to make flashy plays, very similarly to Weekend, he sets up for his team so well. His, the way he positions his door walls, or the fact that he's playing Aphrodite, not always, Kali, not always chasing his target down, using the stuns effectively as a form of CC for his team. Or you see here as Bologna, the Eagles rallied just to move in, make sure that he's applying pressure to the team, allowing his team to use that circle for its defenses as it should be used. He's not always looking for the stuns. His mind is very different, very similar to Weekend, and I think there's a lot that he really brings to the table as a competitive player, more than just the flashy plays that we see from Reels and Cyclone.
Well, you talked about Kali yesterday, and we didn't actually really get to see her, did we?
No, not yet.
Do you think we're going to see her today with Titan?
It's possible. It's still really new in the meta. Players are still trying to find out their best jungle routes, so we might not see those kind of like hidden tiered gods that could wind up make or break matches. But for right now, I'm kind of expecting the basic picks, things like Thor, Athena for
Okay.
Repicas. Really support-based, very powerful, and very controlling.
So you say basic, but Athena is not very common at all in the jungle role from what I've seen in Season 2.
Well, I guess the last meta, she was a little more popular because it was very Guardian heavy, but I still think she's super viable. I mean, late game, having an Athena taunt is invaluable.
She may not be the top pick that we saw in Season 1 and the beginning of Season 2, but she's still very strong. And I was talking to Incon. He says right now this is honestly her best meta, but there's just so much experimenting going on that she may not be played as much because Blink Athena is super strong because
actually nonsense.
her control, that move comes out faster than in almost any other major CC in the game. So when you can instantly get on someone and then force their beads or control them that fast without them being able to react, it's very powerful.
It's also one of the easiest abilities to hit in the game.
Yeah, very wide.
Very wide range, even at the base.
Well, if you guys are just joining us right now, we are in the pre-show for the first game game of the semifinals, which is Paradigm versus Titan. And it is going to be exciting, guys. And you said you want to talk a little bit more about Titan. And when I was doing my research for this pre-show, I actually noticed the numbers for, I believe it was mid, jungle, and hunter on Titan are vastly different, almost polar opposites of their counterparts in Paradigm. Why are Titan's numbers so high?
I mean, they've been winning the most games. I really think it's that Titan had been consistent throughout the entire summer split. You look at Paradigm, and they started off 1-4, and those first 4 losses they took were pretty deep losses, whereas Titan, they had very competitive games in their losses. It was two against actually Paradigm, and then one other against Fnatic, but they had very strongly won. So the numbers may not tell the full story, but their core is very strong. Their mid, their jungle, and their support, I think they match up very well against Paradigms.
Now, something that also caught my eye is that on Paradigm, the support and hunter are actually a bit closer in numbers. They're not so much separated as the KDA as Titans is. Do you think that offers some kind of benefits, maybe having a closer KDA ratio, showing that they're sharing maybe some of the EXP with support? Why does the support on Titan have such a lower KDA?
Well, I mean, that's Trix versus Kanye, right? Trix is a very aggressive support, constantly in the face, always looking to pop the Heavenly Agility, get in there, find the Hercules pulls or the big Ymir freezes, and stick around in the fight. Kanye is usually a counter-initiator. They'll send in a Hunbots to pop up people's beads, and then afterwards go in with the Ares ult, pull everyone together, and hope his team can clean it up. The strategies are vastly different. Most notably to the fact that, again, Trix likes to be constantly in their face.
So you said something about strategies, and yesterday we saw all NA versus EU games, but today we're going to see EU versus EU. And does their meta or strategies differ vastly, or are they still relatively similar compared to NA versus EU games?
You know, taking a look, Paradigm and Fnatic were scrimming each other repeatedly since they've got here. They were their scrim partners because they were on opposite sides of the bracket. Titan now got to look at Paradigm and the strategies they used, and they're going to be able to implement something moving forward. I really think that the Bologna support that Fnatic and Paradigm adapted, I don't think Titan is going to really take that up. I don't think that fits Kanye's playstyle, but they're definitely going to have a strategy moving forward because that was clearly a priority pick for both teams. It was first picked multiple times. Titan's been scrimming AFK, and I know they have something planned for it.
I mean, yeah, that's a huge advantage, right? Titan was able to see what Paradigm was going to bring to the table. Usually when there's a buy round, you have a round to watch your opponents and being able to pick up their strategies, but because you have the buy and they have to fight, generally the field of play is a little bit different. Because the skill is so close and because they were fighting world champions Cloud9, they couldn't have any stops left in. They had to tear them all out. They had to make sure they were going their hardest from the get-go. So most of the strategies, if not all of the strategies that Paradigm came here to play with are already exposed. If Titan was doing their homework, and you have to imagine with an analyst and a coach that they have been doing that intensively, I think that there is a slight advantage here despite the fact that Paradigm has their number. This might be the week that they can kind of steamroll through them.
Well, let's actually look at a player matchup for the mid lane, which is Lobster versus Pretty Prime, two amazing players. Now, why don't you guys, Brandon, why don't you explain to me how these two players differ in playstyles?
Pretty Prime, very team-oriented. Always has been very, I'm going to follow up on my team. I'm going to look for Scylla ults on targets that have already been stunned. Doesn't take a lot of risks, is normally a very safe player. Lobster, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. He doesn't wait for confirmations. If someone says they're going to stun, he trusts 100% that it's going to happen, and he goes all in immediately.
And we actually, I do want to know, we see that happen sometimes where you can clearly tell that Lobster used an ability waiting for Trix Tank to hit his belly flop, to hit the driving strike, to hit the knockup, and it doesn't always connect, but having that trust is important.
Yes.
And I think if Trix or if the players who are setting up are on point, Lobster's going to be on point as well.
That's always been the way it has been. Oh, hello.
How's it going, Erez?
Enjoying some chicken?
I think there's a headset down there if you want to put it on.
No, why'd you say that?
Oh,
This is Erez. Erez is the guy that allows us to do all of this.
Oh, but you can't actually see
Oh,
him,
he's on
but
the
only
shot.
his jeans.
Oh.
Wait, cameraman?
Wait.
There we go.
There we go. Erez, how are you doing today? You're going to have to yell really loudly.
I didn't realize we were live.
You're...
I thought you guys were just chatting.
No, we're live right now.
Oh, okay. I'll see you later.
Who do you... Oh, okay.
I'm just eating.
That's
All
why
right,
I like working
gentlemen,
here.
so let's talk about unexpected picks and bans.
Unexpected.
Yeah, something about a little more unexpected. Now, do you think yesterday, did we see anything that we weren't really expecting a lot of? I know I was happy of all the Ymir picks, personally.
Before we start here, I did watch some scrims from both teams. I'm going to back out of this question.
Okay, so Adonis, this goes to you. What unexpected picks
No, I
did we
know.
see yesterday, and what are we going to see today?
You could say without it. I know. Okay, this is gonna be hard. So I was actually Trix was talking to me because we were watching the last set yesterday, TSM versus Fnatic, and Trix was actually pretty happy that Barracuda didn't show up. Not for the fact that it's not the full competition,
I'd
but
be
because
stoked.
they have secret strats planned.
Oh, okay.
And they were happy that Barracuda wasn't there, that they could keep those secret. He was actually getting worried that he's like, if we have to go to Game 5, we're going to have to show our hands. We're going to have to show our cards to Titan before we have to face them. So that's one advantage that Paradigm does have. I don't know what they are, but we can clearly see that these teams have something interesting prepared. We saw Zeus's come out multiple times now.
That's right.
C9, they were screaming with it as well. They brought that out. I've heard tells of a Wheelix support. I mean, that may just be joking around. I think we will see Kali come out from Titan at some point. I think it's just, if it doesn't, I'll be surprised, but at the same time...
Reppy has the best Kali.
He does. I mean, they literally won. Titan literally got to Worlds off of Reppy's Kali, or that was a major part of it. They were down 0-2, and the EU Regionals getting their Titan...
Comfrey's Aphrodite played a big part.
It was the whole team, but I mean, Reppy showed up with his Kali, and I think if to not see it, I would be surprised.
But I mean, from Season 1 to Season 2, there's been a lot of changes, and especially with the few patches that we've had. And I know I always bring this up, but it's almost exciting seeing these teams adapt to very vastly different metas. And what do you think, pick-wise, we're going to see in these games? Do you think we're going to see... I mean, Kali,
again, I can't.
I know you
answer that question.
can't. Well,
because these teams are bringing stuff forward that no one's ever seen before outside of the people they've been scrimming, and that's what I think is really exciting about these games. Is we saw the Thanatos mids, we saw
Or sometimes troll rank games.
or troll. You're going to be seeing stuff that you see in troll ranked games, but it's being played with professional players who have strategies in mind, who have these combos in mind, and Thanatos mid at first look, you're just like, what a joke. But I mean, Zeros has been playing this god since Season 1 to great effect.
It got him to Worlds.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing gods that, while they may not be the strongest, they're effective because people don't know how to react against them, and that they're just good enough to get going. So Thanatoses and Chang'as and really anything.
Wouldn't you say it's the top player's job to be able to be ready against anything?
No. That's completely not feasible.
I would say react.
Reacting is one thing, adapting is another, right? I mean, let's take a look at Marvel, right? EVO just happened. The Marvel finals were won by 3 mid-tiers. Maybe even low tiers in certain eyes. He won because he figured out a strategy that not many top players would be able to deal with. He changed up his strategy over 2 years just slightly enough for him to compete with all the top tiers. This is what we're going to be seeing this weekend. Zeus did incredibly in all the games that we saw him play.
That's right.
And Zeus is not a good character. He has damage. That's it. He's a damage character. He has good zoning. Otherwise, he is very close to useless. But when you put it in the hands of a top player and you put it against people who aren't practicing against it, it's very hard to react in a short amount of time.
All right, gentlemen, real quick, who do you give it to? That's not quick at all.
If Xaylia gets ahead, Paradigm.
Okay,
if Xaylia gets ahead.
No, Paradigm.
I'm going to give it to Marcus. Because he's going to kill this cast.
I needed to do that.
Well, let's go right now to our casters with Bart, F-Dot, and Marcus.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the commentary desk for the pre-game show period here as we get things ready with Paradigm versus Titan. Titan, of course, coming as the #1 seed from Europe and enjoying a first-round bye. Now going on to face the winners of that first game matchup where Paradigm was able to successfully vanquish Cloud9 Sans Barracuda. I'm joined at the desk by F-Dot and Marcus Vining, a.k.a. Reels with an X. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
So is it Reels with an X, or is it Reels ZX, or is it Reels?
Reels with an X.
Reels with an X.
Yeah.
So it's a sentence for a name.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, great. The artist formerly known as Real Z.
I like it.
X.
I like it.
Great.
I mean, I'm always one for extra pronunciation, said F-Dot.
Yeah, it's like
Most
F
down.
Reels X.
Reels X. Okay, I love it. So in the comms, they're like, Reels X, go in!
I think they just call me Reels.
I think they might as well. Yeah, pop your mic up a little bit there, buddy. But guys, we are getting things ready to go here. And, well, if you didn't catch us yesterday, we had 2 best-of-5 series going down. 1 European team moving on, 1 North American team moving on. TSM and Paradigm going to go on to represent their respective regions here as we move into the semifinals. And, well, as we look forward to this best-of-5, Paradigm versus Titan. Let's go quickly. Does anybody have a suggestion for who might win this game?
I mean, I'm going by the numbers, but Paradigm beat Titan 2-0 last time during the regular season. The only team to 2-0 Titan. I don't really see why they would stop.
Reels, any thoughts?
Oh, I think this meta, it seems like most games here are going late game. Paradigm, a great team fight team. So, yeah, I think they can take it.
Like
3-1 maybe.
Well, as you may recall, Paradigm, they win those games against Titan in the regular season off the backs of Trix Tank playing basically the best games that he played the entire split.
Yep.
So I guess if he shows up, maybe they have a shot. But let's take a look at the intro video for Paradigm.
Fun baller. Trix Tank. Lobster. Cubo Fred. Zalia.
Of course, that being Paradigm, and across the way, they'll go up against Titan here. And, well, there's a lot to say about Titan, but to keep it short and sweet, they had a really great showing at Worlds, have since kind of been on the downslide through Split 1, have kind of come back up through Split 2, ending on top of Europe. But I think there's some people are saying maybe there's some chinks in the armor. There's some opportunities to get a hit in edgewise against a team that looked fairly unbeatable about a year ago this time.
Yeah, I think Titan has been a team that's really made an identity for themselves based on just the unit. You know, team fight just to be the bottom of everything, just being one of those teams that there really is no standout player. It's about the unit, and we saw a switch of roles of Confrey and Ataraxia from the solo lane to Hunter, and that was really just for fun's sake. So we'll see how that winds up here on LAN. It worked all right.
You know, it's a little bit, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they adapt where Hunters don't seem to be as viable as solo laners in this kind of shift. So, I mean, that was a lot of their wins came off the back of Ataraxia having some really big games on Apollo. You know, we'll see. I mean, the Hunter changes that have come in so far, I mean, you guys didn't play a lot of Hunter in the solo lane, with Maniac still really preferring the Bruisers there. But, I mean, how have the Hunters kind of been hurt? You know, is it as substantial as maybe some people would suggest?
I'm not sure. Maybe you'll see it in this game. Maybe they'll.
Yeah, maybe.
In this series, they might. Yeah, you never know. They might pull it out in some of these games here. But it's not as viable now. You'll have to wait and see if they play it.
Is that mostly Bluestone Pendant changes that make it
I think
the
so,
hardest?
yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, so Bluestone Pendant before the changes was basically giving you back a spell every wave.
Right.
Yeah. Effectively. It was about 60 to 90 mana, depending on how big your pool was in that 30-second period. So a little tough. But let's go ahead and toss it over to the Titan video. Take a look at the boys before we get into game number 1.
Confrey. Kanye Light. Pretty Prime. Ataraxia. Rebecca's.
And there they are, Titan, and we are just moments away now from the picks and banning phase. It's going to be a best-of-5 series. That's first of 3 wins for Titan and Paradigm.
This is good. This is really exciting. I'm happy that this is the semifinals that we're graded with because we've got Europe versus Europe here. On the other side, we've got North America versus North America, which means EU versus NA finals no matter what happens.
Yeah, got to be excited about that, and of course a win for Europe. It's been some time since they've had a really good showing at LAN. So yeah, I mean I think it's a good international statement to make here if he's able to pull this one down because as you may know, going into Split 3, those will be regionals again, not international play as we move into the World's qualifying period. So last real shot at it here, but yeah, we're getting ready to go here. Picks and bans. All things told here, I mean game number 1. Let's talk a little bit about the pace of the series.
Sure.
Either of these teams don't really seem to be ones that tilt. I think Paradigm may be the team that's a little bit less resolved in that regard. Titan, the more stable team in your estimation?
Yeah, I would say they're the more stable team, but Paradigm are definitely hungry. I don't think between them they've not won much.
Yeah.
In the past year or so, they've done well previously. Curafed, Trix, Lobster, they won the launch event.
They did, yeah.
But from there, they've not really won anything. So obviously they're really hungry for a win here. And first game, I think it's going to be really hard for them, because Titan have seen all the previous games. They're just going to have to play the first game and sort of get a feeling for
Do we think
where they're going to pick and ban.
is going to be picked here?
I think Kali is definitely going to be picked. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen some of the premier theory crafters in the scene kind of talking about the Titan's Bane plus Kali passive interaction, granting you essentially true damage, especially against tanks if you get the right target in the early game. But as the games are trending later, as you mentioned, Kali is always something that kind of rises to the top when you see those late game oriented, or at least the meta kind of dictating a late game oriented carry.
Yeah, that's really the key right there, is that it's all about the late game these days, plus the fact that Repicas himself on Titan, the jungler, is a very, very proficient Kali player. Going back to one of the most iconic moments in Titan's history, we were talking about, do they tilt? Which of these teams is going to tilt? Titan had one of the most notable comebacks of all time against Cloud9 at the time. 3 Phoenixes down, etc., etc. One off the back of great defense, and then an incredible offense from Repicas' Kali. So here we are many, many moons later. Kali is now in the picture. Repicos is still on the team. I think it's just waiting to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the largest comeback since probably the launch tournament were sniped through to Cog Prime.
Yeah. Even larger, I'd say. I mean, 3 Phoenixes down. It was just so much incredible play coming out from basically everybody on the team, Pretty Prime, and everybody came together. And that's what we're used to seeing out of Titan. And as we get into these picks and bans, 2 bans are already on the board. Ratatasker banned out by Paradigm and Ymir taken out by Titan.
Well, there's a couple of things you can be sure of always in a European LAN event. There will be very little Ares and Ymir play. As
yes.
They will almost always get banned out. Ratatasker and Ao Kuang. The bans you see on your screen here, I would actually be a little surprised to see these not be the bans for most of the games in this set. It'll come down to an individual player really showing up on some god to force the ban.
Specifically the Ares, Titan's support player, Kanye Life, is known not just for being aggressive, previously known as murder, but Ares specifically has won multiple sets, multiple games for Titan. Going back to the World Championships that just passed in January, Titan brought it back almost to win the entire series against Cloud9 on the back of Kanye Life's Ares, so I don't expect to see any play of that on the side of Titan.
First pick Bologna coming out, so I don't think it's a big surprise here.
It's a great god to pick on LAN as well, Ares, you know, with the ping.
Chains,
super easy to hit the chains.
Well, you see Titan drafting right into the Freya there to keep it away from that Bologna Freya lane that we saw be very, very popular in previous European sets today, and they're going to take the Giannis right away as well, who was banned out, I think, every game versus Fnatic for zeros, yeah?
Yeah, I think every game, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, not necessarily indicating, I don't think Pretty Prime is necessarily the same caliber of Giannis, or at least it's not such a far away kind of best in slot for him as it is for zeros, who that's really his hallmark god, but, you know, maybe it lends a little bit more to the strategy they're looking to run here.
I'm actually very interested to see if we'll see a Vulcan. Obviously not this game, but if we'll see a Vulcan sometime later in the set. Pretty Prime really made a name for himself.
Questions answered early here.
There it is, the Kali, but on Paradigm, not the side that we would have expected.
I think this is very much a counter pick. They don't want to. They don't want to ban it. They want to melee hard carry.
Curafed is a great Kali player as well. So
Curafed is quietly a very, very good player. I mean, he has his ups and downs, but always seems to perform when it counts for this team. Trick's often in that boat as well. The two of them, the young guys, good friends, and they trend together, it seems like. When they're both on, they win. Paradigm wins. But back on the side of Titan, they'll take Serket to go along with Giannis Freya. And, well, right now it's just this team that Titan has drafted. Like, how do you actually kill them and lock them down? They're so mobile.
Yeah, I mean, Serket's a great pick into Kali, and that's why they picked it up there before it got banned out, you know?
Right, yeah, obviously the 100% healing reduction on Serket's ultimate preventing Kali from getting much out of her passive.
And Paradigm probably know that. That's why they picked up third pick before it gets banned.
The Anher going to be banned out by Titan right here. As we can see, both sides of the board don't have Hunters. So you're going to go ahead and ban out that one. And Geb being banned out by Paradigm. Freya, of course, can be played in that long lane. So not quite... You don't want to waste the ban on a Hunter just in case.
So, you know, this kind of follows a trend of what we've seen out of European pick and ban strategy. Sylvanas very, very low value to the European squads. Still through here. I mean, through this many picks in North America, he'd been picked up in the first or second picking slot. Here, he's going to make it through, and it will likely be the kind of consolation support that Titan will take later on in the draft.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Sylvanas here, honestly. It's a really good pick with Freya. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
It gives Freya a really easy laning phase, so there's no reason not to. And they banned out the Anher as well. Anher's not a great matchup with Freya.
Yeah, Freya's base lifesteal Uprisingman's Blessing when paired with those wisps, because they're actually a tremendous amount of sustain in the lane.
If you can get Freya through the early game.
Whoa.
The Aphrodite
is Confree going back to solo lane here?
That's what I'm seeing. Well, that's on Paradigm's side. So, I mean, the Paradigm, you look at
is
the
Confree playing for Paradigm now?
everything is up in the air and switching around
so
here.
It's Zalia.
Yeah, I mean...
Although, I mean, you never know, right? It could be Aphrodite Bologna dual lane in some crazy turn of fate, and it's a Kali solo because who knows, but really unlikely. But it would make a little bit of sense with Zalia, kind of, generally speaking, filling that carry role for Paradigm. But Titan, they're going to round things out with a Hades here, and wow, there's a lot of very, very high potency opportunities for silences on this Hades against this lineup for Paradigm. They are very, very spell dependent.
Oh, yeah, especially, I mean, anytime a silence is picked up, I'm immediately looking at Isis. Wing Gust is a very potent ability, but only if you can actually use it. As soon as Hades comes in, that's going to be the #1 threat to go ahead and silence out either during
They've got
the
a lot of
right
options versus Wing Gust, right? They have the Serket Taunt, they have Giannis Portals, and they now have the Hades Silence, not to mention Banish out of Freya. So don't expect Isis to get too much done this game in terms of damage. It's going to be about utility and those ultimates for her, any impact she's going to have in this game, unless, of course, Lobster finds a way to just win mid lane outright.
Of course. And I mean, we've seen Lobster play Lobster is one of those players that can change his playstyle depending on what the team needs at the time. He can be your hyper carry with a super damage mage, or he can go the utility-oriented ISIS pick and play it real hard with the open-ended combos. So look for a lot of disjointed, look for a lot of intense spirit balls and the silences to really make ISIS very, very useful out of this mid laner.
Of course, maybe Titan has lost sight of exactly how the Kali works, right? I mean, when Kali has been in vogue, giving up Kali with Aphrodite has been a suicide note, basically. And Paradigm has been able to draft that here. Obviously, looking at their lineup, the main deficiency it seems they have is going to be frontline capabilities, right? The Aphrodite needs to be 30 minutes plus before she's really going to be a viable frontline tank, unless she itemizes in a Breastplate of Valor, which is a really tough item to go into in the current setup because you get invaded almost guaranteed as a solo lane mage.
And you'll also be up against Hades. So you're going to be, if you start off the Breastplate of Valor, you're not going to be building against your lane.
Right.
So Hades will just continue to wreak havoc on you. Sure, you'll look nicer against the Circuit, but don't forget, the Circuit's damage is also largely true damage. So that's not going to mitigate really much of anything there.
That's right. There's not a good and easy item to build into that's giving you magical protection and cooldown reduction in a way that Aphrodite wants it. You know, she's gonna be looking at a Warlock Sash, and as I already mentioned, percentage damage coming out of Circuit, very effective against that health stacking. Well, it's moments away here from getting into the game, guys. We've broken down the lineups here. No big surprise in the bans, as we mentioned. You know, Ares, Amir, Ao Kwong going to be likely banned out for most of the games. Ratatasker could be as well, although, you know, Ratatasker hasn't seen that much play in Europe from what I understand. And I mean, how has it looked in scrims, Reels? Has there been quite a bit of Ratatasker?
Yeah, there has been actually. It's surprising that there hasn't been more of it. I mean, we don't favour it that much, but other teams do. Curofed plays it super well, so I think you might see it in at least one of these games.
As a jungler, though. As
a jungler or a solo laner.
Yeah, we've seen both sides of Ratatasker, both in the jungle and the solo lane. Most notably, Divios played the solo. And it's so interesting. One of the key points about Ratatasker, one of the newer gods, is he gets a special item, his Acorn, and you can go multiple different directions. And we see a lot of the solo laners building a heal Acorn, which adds a healing aspect and sustain into the lane. And then there's damage Acorns, there's slowing Acorns, so you can go utility, you can go straight assassin,
it's all types of
heal.
Acorns.
So with that in the thought process, he can fit so many different roles for a team that it's really open-ended. So Paradigm banning it out this time around, but as Real said, I could definitely see Cuvo playing this as a very, very aggressive, high mobile assassin later on.
So, well, Paradigm, I mean, I think it's important that they get this first win, honestly. I think that like their chance of really winning this set is going to be very, very important that they take this first game, because I do think that this team does rely on momentum some, and if they don't make it to late game, or rather, yeah, let me revise that. I think they need to make it to late game. They need to see their Kali come online. If they don't get there, it's going to be very demoralizing. You know, try to pick something that's kind of on new meta in a very new kind of still being established meta, and trying to pick something very late game oriented. If they get rolled and they don't get Kali online, I think it's going to be a tough kind of mental block to get over.
Now, Reels, how do you feel about this Aphrodite pick for Xayah? I mean, a lot of the time, Xayah is the hard carry for Paradigm, sort of like, I mean, they're more team-oriented, but akin to AFK on the North American side of things with Cyclone Spin. Aphrodite, very much a support. It's not the Sun Wukong. It's not the Bakasuras that we see out of Xayah. How is this going to change what Paradigm has to do as a unit?
Well, I think this is going to be super hard for them. They're going to have a Sylvanas and Freya in the dual lane, which, if they get there first, they should outpush the Bellona and Rama. Maybe the Bellona goes red pot and they get something back there, who knows. But the Hades definitely going to outpush the Afro, and the Circuit's going to have a lot more presence in the jungle than the Kali. So it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be really hard for them early game. As long as they can just not die and get through the early game without dying and without giving up too much gold, I think they can really make this work.
Easier said than done,
Easier said than done, definitely, yeah.
So what's one of the key points that Paradigm... How does Paradigm protect themselves to actually get to the late game?
It's just experience, you know, trying to know where they're going, trying to know where they are, ward coverage as well, and just trying to play safe as much as you can, you know. You just have to wait and see whether it works out or not. It's going to be really tricky for them.
One thing that I'm looking at here that seems to be really difficult for Paradigm is going to be, how does Kali itemize to actually kill anything? Right? I mean, it looks like she's going to need a sprint and a Fatalis if she's ever going to have any hope of sticking to these targets. I mean, they're just all so mobile. Or maybe even a blink is going to be needed.
That's what I expect to see. Now with Sprint being changed, so it doesn't affect the basic attacks anymore. Fatalis is the way to go. And Blink, what Blink allows Kali to do, you blink in to get up on the individual, and then after the escape is used, you still have your jump available to go ahead and chase. Now, will that help Giannis when he walks through 17 walls? Maybe not so much, but the Circuit chase will be a little bit easier, as will the Hades chase. And Hades is usually a problematic target, but with the penetration Kali comes on, might be a great choice to be attacking him.
I think you need Kali to get a kill in the first 15 minutes of this game to really feel safe going into that 20-minute period, because I mean, one thing is that's going to be another. I mean, Paradigm Squad is just, again, it's actually similar to what we said a little bit in the last set of yesterday, where Titan, their execution is going to be a hell of a lot easier than Paradigm's in these team fights. Paradigm basically is living and dying by the Isis ultimate here in any kind of 5v5 grouping, where Titan has Wrath of Terra, the Hades Pillar of Agony, not to mention, Giannis, Freya, Cirque, able to pick off single targets really, really quickly. Aphrodite ultimate, it's only going to be able to save one.
It's the risk versus reward factor for me with Paradigm. Kali has 2 lives initially with the ultimate. Now with the Aphrodite, she's got 3 lives, and depending on how much damage that Isis Circle of Protection absorbs, that's a potential for a 4th life on Kali. If this train gets rolling, it's going to be almost unstoppable for Titan, but that's a really big if. It is going to be very tough in the early game, as we said multiple times. But what we haven't really talked about much is this Bologna. We see a lot of rotation coming out, especially what we saw in the last match that you just played in Reels. A lot of supports not necessarily staying in the lane. Do you expect this Bologna to hang out more in the jungle, or do you think with Rom you'll see the Bologna wait out to keep Freya on her toes?
I think she's going to be in the jungle a lot. Not in the dual lane. I mean, Rama's got an absolutely fine matchup against Freya. He's going to outpush her. It's going to be fine for him. The Bologna's not going to have to go back there much. He's just going to have to keep focused on the Freya. That disarm is huge. When the Freya pops her 2-1, the disarm from Bologna is absolutely huge. It shut down a ton of her damage in the team fight. So if he can do that, then I think they're going to have some good team fights here. But it's just about getting to the stage where they can have a team fight.
It's that and kind of getting through that early game push out of Freya and Sylvanas. I mean, Bologna's going to have to stay there maybe a bit longer than you would expect, just to keep those disarms out so the wave doesn't get pushed until Rama gets kind of active around level 7 with those astral arrows. But we're underway here, guys. About a minute 10 away from the gong sounding. Paradigm versus Titan. Paradigm will be the blue squad, bottom side of the minimap, left side of the spectator UI. It's Zalia, Cubo, Fred, Lobster, Trix, and Funballer. It's going to be Aphrodite, Kali, Isis, Bologna, and Rom. Their opponents today are Titan, top seed out of Europe, top side of the minimap, right side of your spectator UI, and wearing the red trunks. It's Ataraxia and Hades in the solo. Reppy in the jungle as Cirque. Pretty Prime in the mid lane as Giannis. That leaves Kanye Life and Confrey as your dual lane Sylvanas and Freya.
Now, right away, before we even talk about anything else, Lobster on Isis. So Isis is a character that is extremely proficient in the early game. Wingust clears waves fantastically well. On top of that, we see the magical potion. Last time we saw Lobster do this on the Isis, it allowed so much pressure in this mid lane. The waves got cleared almost instantly, and because of that, Lobster was invading the enemy jungle along with the rest of the Paradigm squad.
I'm going to one-up you here.
Look for a lot of that.
Let's talk about Achilles' Spear picked up on Confrey at level 1.
No surprise there. That's Freya. Freya.
It's a little bit of a surprise. We haven't seen any other Freyas that have been played, 6 times so far this tournament by it.
That's very true. Reels, I mean, you've sort of discussed it. It's one of those, if you play Freya, you have an opinion. You either like it or you don't. We don't see it out of you. What does Achilles' Spear mean to you?
I mean, it is a good item. I used it for a little while. I was testing it out for a while. And it is pretty good. It's a lot of gold to invest for a start.
Sure.
At level 1. So you got that, and then going into team fights, a lot of the time with Freya, it definitely helps with lane clear, and they should definitely have, well, you'll see here, they're going to outpush them heavily, but it definitely helps with the lane clear. But in team fights, there's a lot of times where you pop it and you're trying to trade with people, and you just get bursted.
Yeah, you get hit by the unstable vortex or something from Giannis, and all of a sudden, but look at that, the banish coming out of Funballer into the root. We didn't talk about that very much. I mean, that is a pretty much guaranteed
that would have been a free
hit.
Kill. Yeah, that was a bit of miscommunication between them there. The banish at the same time as he pulled, so...
That will be Weakening Curse on cooldown, or Creeping Curse on cooldown, so that's 100 seconds until that's up one more time, but that's going to be a lot of kill potential between
They've already
those two
established
characters.
that lane control as well. I mean, now they kind of have Paradigm going, oh, damn. Like after that, after almost losing Funballer Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, they've kind of come out and made that statement here. But mid camp's being contested here. Looks like they will go to the way. Maybe a first blood as well.
Wow.
Yes. Reppy getting the kill on the Lobster. He's going to make the play on a Cuba Fred as well. Does have the poison stacked up. Not quite enough with that percentage damage. But first blood nonetheless going the way of Titan, giving them about an 800 gold lead now. And, well, as we mentioned, Kali very good in the late game, but she needs a little bit of help in the early game to get things going.
And that's what they needed not to happen.
Right. Yeah, they needed not their mid laner with the red pot that's now 400 gold in the hole.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's a really big hit. Really big hit.
450 gold is the cost of that purple pot, and it's temporary stats. It doesn't add it permanently. So the second that Lobster died, it's essentially 450 gold just absolutely wasted. Not going to be a good look for this middle lane. But as we said, Isis doesn't exactly flounder in the beginning of the
Can you put that into perspective, Reels, compared to the double kill that Fenrir got against you guys in game number 3? Is that... I mean, that wasn't a red pot going to waste or I'm sorry, purple pot. Is that actually worse than giving up a couple kills?
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
No, that's about as bad as it gets right there.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing now. The mid laner and the jungler have both died within the first couple of minutes.
The thing is, that was the only lane they had any pressure in. They look at the map here. They got the dual lane that's pushing up. They got the solo lane that's getting completely controlled by the Hades here. And now their only lane that had any kind of pressure was the Isis with the pot. And now she's just died. The Kali's just died. They got absolutely no pressure on the map at all. This game is going to be super hard from here. And honestly, I don't know if there's any coming back from this.
Really? This early in the game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you pick this kind of lineup that is so orientated for late game, and that kind of stuff happens within 2 minutes of the game, yeah, I mean, it's going to be super hard for them.
Yeah, what we see out of these kind of very aggressive assassin-based kind of carries, the Circuit that we saw this happening to Twig yesterday as well. When you get behind that 1 or 2 deaths in the early game, all of a sudden you have to farm instead of actually going trying to pressure the map because you're always half a level behind or a level behind. And it's so hard to kind of get back into it, especially as a god like Kali with basically no kill potential.
And these are like some of the best players in the world. They're not just going to let you free farm back into it. They know you're behind. They know where you're going.
Yeah.
They can pressure your buffs. They can be everywhere you are and just carry on shutting you down.
When you see that kind of early game, I mean, are you in the comms calling, okay, let's ward their jungle? We know generally speaking around 4 minutes those buffs are coming back up. Let's make sure we make the play there.
Pretty much thinking hopefully the servers crash. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to try and stay positive, But the worst thing is, the best thing in that kind of scenario is if one lane's doing really well.
Right.
Then you always got that feeling, all right, there's someone that can do work for us and hopefully carry us or bring us back into the game here. But in this scenario, I mean, every lane's getting outpushed. They got pressure all across the map.
And you mentioned earlier, right, with that composition, like even if Zayli was winning his lane,
that's
right. What is that Aphrodite really going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so much different than what Paradigm usually brings to the table with Xaylia on, I mean, anything. There's so many hyper carries that we've seen Xaylia bring out, from Freya to Ao Kuang to Bakasura, and it's a support-oriented character this time around to help out the Kali, and it's just not going to be that person you can lean on like they're used to. So a lot of adjustments need to be made at mid-game already, and we're only 3 minutes in. So
yeah, it's not looking good for Paradigm here.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, right? Like Aphrodite does do a tremendous amount of damage.
Sure.
Like back off is one of the most damaging abilities in the game, and it's instant. But it just, I mean, she only has it every so often, right? She doesn't bring in really any carry potential, even that other soul lane mages could bring to the table, not even in-handers necessarily. I mean, Kronos' spells are just as powerful is what I'm getting at, and then he has the enhance on top of it. So she's really bringing, as you mentioned, all that support, all of that ability to keep the Kali up, but if your Kali has nothing, and your Aphrodite's stacked, like, you're not getting much out of that.
Nope.
Unfortunately not. We'll take a look at the jungle right here.
And they're already looking to pressure their blue buff.
Yeah. This is what we were afraid of. Just the amount of setbacks that Paradigm has suffered. Titan is able to just bully Paradigm out of doing what they need
Paradigm is sitting here. They know they can't even take this. They can't even take their own blue buff.
Oh, here we go. Blinking forward, using that ultimate, kicking back. Lobster's going to drop his ultimate. No healing coming his way. That's an easy kill. Boom goes the dynamite. They'll get the poison spread to the blue buff as well. That means there's just no way that even a steal is capable from Cubo Fred. But one thing I do want to mention is that Cubo Fred actually had out-leveled Reppy somehow.
Really?
He was 6 and Reppy was 5 going into that fight, obviously with the kill now even, but...
I mean, we saw that similarly in the first round of Paradigm versus Cloud9. I think it has something to do with the way they start, Bart. You see
the Paradigm start.
Yeah, you see the back Harpies being started at the same time as the buff.
Back Harpies pulled together, yeah.
Exactly, they
He
pull.
just went a level ahead again.
Yeah.
So, Cubo Fred, so that... Well, unfortunately what that means is it means that Lobster it gets a little bit behind if you prioritize that farm onto your jungler, which makes sense obviously with the Kali. And then when he drops his pot as well, yeah, you know, on and on.
Not a good look.
The snowball's going up the hill, not down the hill.
Which, I mean, this to me, this game right now is really impressive from Titan because with the recent patches, the snowball is shut down. There isn't that much snowball potential anymore.
This is
but
real life. Look at the
Titan's
XP
doing
per
it.
minute. 800 on Giannis, 450 for Isis.
Yeah, and the goal difference between the Kali and Circuit. I mean, it's already a bad matchup anyway, and with that much gold difference, that's almost 1,000.
Almost 1,000 net worth.
At
different.
5 minutes. At 5 minutes, that is huge.
200 gold a minute that he's going up. Yeah.
Yeah, that is rough.
But it's Kali. You can never count out Kali.
Nope.
Very, very true. I mean, we're talking about how dismal this is right now. But the important part is right now. The second Kali sort of hits her stride, nothing's going to break it.
Paradigm has to find some point in this game where they're able to just stall out Titan.
Yeah.
Because Titan is... That last kill on the Circuit, you know, that kind of kept the momentum going. If they're able to find 1 or 2 more kills before 10 minutes, it becomes basically impossible at that point for Paradigm without winning multiple big team fights at an objective and taking that objective.
I think Paradigm were definitely underestimating the comp that they had early, you know, grouping up like that in the mid camps.
Second time we see the blink out of the Circuit into the immediate ultimate. This time it won't net a kill. Paradigm will save themselves underneath their tower, but that's very, very aggressive play coming out of Repicos on the side of Titan.
And Lobster's 3 levels behind here in the mid lane.
Yikes.
Yeah, and he hasn't even finished his boot chest. It's not looking good.
At least it's not Agni that he's going up against.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
I mean, the only way they're looking to get back into this is a Gold Fury steal or something like that. The Titan side have not really got the best objective damage and secure here. You know, Freya's got a lot of burst, but it runs out. You know, it's not like an auto attack god. You got your little bit of burst and it runs out, and they haven't really got anything to secure the objectives with. So maybe you get a good Isis ultimate onto one of the objectives, they could be back in the game.
Maybe a fun ball or Rom snipe to take it.
Exactly, yeah. You never know.
Rom very, very good at taking those early objectives, but now it's going to be Zalia under the crosshairs for Repicos and Ataraxia. Ataraxia pushing the wave in. Repulixi wants to dive the tower, at least force out that Undying Love here. No silence just yet. There it is. Ultimate not available, but they will force out the ultimate nicely there. That means that Zalia no longer is sitting pretty in this lane. He's got to respect any initiation at this point.
That also is Beads 1 as well, which is a very long cooldown. 170 seconds until those are back up because it's just the first rank. And with that...
Did I miss something there, or did he just panic and press both?
Probably both.
Yeah, I think it was just...
I think he ulted, and the ult was not long enough to get out of the Hades ultimate. It was dragging him back in, so he had to bead the little distance.
Wow, look at that. Lobster Force uses ultimate there to try to avoid it, but the brilliantly placed ultimate from Repicos to shut down any healing. And, well, there's that kill to keep the momentum going that we were saying really needed to not happen. Wrath of Terror used, but Malona, does she dash out of it in time? It looks like yes. Cuba Fred trying to make anything happen for his team, but I can't imagine he really can move forward aggressively. Roma and Invicta, Eagles rally over the top. Funballer here as well.
And you can see Paradigm here just looking for anything to get back into this game, and you can see everything they're doing just not working at the moment.
I mean, that's the fight that Paradigm kind of largely wants.
Look at Titan.
If they don't get a kill, that's all right as long as they don't get killed themselves.
Look at these guys.
Unfortunately, Titan trying to turn it around.
They get an advantage, and they bought 4 blinks. Like, they're just going to keep the screws tight here.
Yep.
It's just going to be nonstop aggression coming out. And look at them. You know, they used 3 blinks in that last initiation there. I mean, they're just going to pile on to whatever target they can find and keep them all down.
Comfrey over here trying to take his purple buff.
He'll try. Now going to eat the chain slows from Rom. Rom missing a couple shots there, and the banish going to be enough to make the distance for Confrey to get out of there. Funballer really need to hit that last slow before the banish have any shot of securing that kill.
Yeah, it's a lot of mechanical prowess that has to go on in this dual lane for it to really work. But for Paradigm, it's the only lane that isn't really lagging behind. Equal levels on the 2 hunters, or Freya playing the hunter role for both Paradigm and Titan. So Funball really the last hope.
Hades actually gets back a little bit before Aphrodite there. Now is up a full set of penetration boots over the Warlock Sash. Obviously, she's only a few hundred gold behind, going able to get them back for herself. But Gold Fury starting to get a big reality here for Titan with that Hades ultimate online, with those pen boots as well. Some Warlock Sash. She'll be able to tank for quite some time.
I mean, you mentioned the pace of this game, Bart. This is exactly what the textbook says how to fight a Kali. You get on her quickly, and then you keep the pace of the game so that nobody can really feel comfortable. As Real said, these are some of the best players in the world, and they're not going to allow you to just free farm. Likewise, they're not going to allow you to feel comfortable.
The biggest problem here for me...
Oh, well, it's not as big as a problem as Trixtank has now, as Bologna in a lot of trouble. The percent damage coming through. Boom goes the dynamite. The poison will pop. Kanye Life credited for the kill. He goes for the pluck as well, and the Funballer not going to find it. But Giannis Ultimate being shown off there by Titan.
They're just everywhere at this point, and there's nothing Paradigm can do about it.
Yeah, this is, so as we kind of mentioned during the picks and bans, like how does Paradigm secure damage into any of these highly mobile targets? And, well, Titan's solution to making sure there was no counterplay was to then buy Blinks on top of all of those really, really mobile targets. So it's their ability to get from one side of the map to the other with the Giannis Ultimate and all these mobility items, and Lobster dead again here.
And this is the problem. What level he's still 13, so Giannis must almost be 14, and Lobster's still 10. He's almost 4 levels behind, and at this point, he's just cannon fodder.
Yeah, he will fall 4 levels here now as a Gold Fury to go down quickly here. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, maybe some kind of securing ability lacking, but Unstable Vortex is going to hit that Gold Fury for about 400 damage at any stage in the game now, past that early. And it's going to take 2 ROM snipes and probably coordinate with another ability to snake it away in a true kind of open contest where they're not fighting it.
And at this point, there's no way that ISIS is even getting anywhere near the Gold Fury.
No.
If they're trying to do it, the ISIS is never going anywhere near the Gold Fury.
Look at the slide, 5,000 gold, 5,800 XP here through 10 minutes. So talk us through, Reels, kind of when and why you would concede a match. Like, is this something you guys would be talking about in comms?
Honestly, like it might even be a good idea for Paradigm just to F6 this game and just get out of their head and go straight into the next one, because for me, this game is looking pretty much like it's over.
It's looking really dismal because of the amount of action we have in the middle lane, but look at the bottom of your screen. Kali is, despite not being 5-0-2 like her enemy jungle, she's ahead of Serket with the experience, and Funball not really lagging behind.
Just 1,300 gold behind individually. Those shin size can't really come fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. And Kali can't 1v5 them, you know. It needs to be a team effort, and the rest of his team is just way too far behind to do anything at this point.
Yeah, you know, Kali has a hard time dealing with Freya with a Fatalis as well. That backpedal very, very good here. Ice is going to fall again. Nothing that Lobster can even do against Ataraxia. Ataraxia devours souls over the top of the Replicas as well. Tier 1 is going to be free. Funballer thought for a moment there that he was going to go try to 1v4 by turning the corner, and instead realizes that it's the Tier 2 they got to try to defend, and maybe a little bit of a of how this game has gone for Paradigm in a nutshell. The link actually missed there by Zalia onto Funballer. But Funballer credited with a kill there. First kill of the game for Paradigm as they defend their Tier 2 successfully.
Yeah, Kanye caught a couple of hits from the tower, I believe, and just tanked a lot of what Paradigm had to throw at him. And final hit goes to Funball, so he'll get credited for putting Paradigm on the board here 12 minutes in. Long time, so really tough.
Well, we have Chin Size completed now for Kali. Trickstank, he's actually, he thought that was his buff. He was wrong. It was actually Titan's buff in his own jungle. Titan moving forward. Ataraxia, will he be able to find it? No, it's a double hit. Let's actually take a listen into the comms as this fight continues.
QVL. He was super low.
He's no health, no health. No. You guys don't have to fight, just keep getting buffs. Keep getting buffs. Alright, we got the Tier 1. So if we keep doing this, then we can get through. I'll go left.
Come on.
Good job. Nice. Yo, this is spawning. I mean, I'll water for you, Nate.
The blue is spawning, so
our blue
probably look for it. I'm backing here.
Oh,
Kali has size.
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Kali has size now?
That's why I died so quick.
Yeah, she...
That was Titan we were just listening to. The Curse voice listening there, and you see the team getting a little bit of a morale boost out of that Pretty Prime Ultimate.
Just, I mean, the camera missed it because you can't predict that. Sometimes you just roll the dice, and long way away, that Janus Ultimate picks up the kill.
10-2 now for Titan, and, well, cue up Fred. I'm sure that was maybe the nail in the coffin for him.
That's what I was literally just about to say, Bar. Literally, the nail in the coffin. After that happens, I think Cuba Fred might be saying F6 after that.
He may be saying F this after that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that's the type of play that, is it the worst thing that could have happened? No. Is it the most, did you get outplayed? No. Does it feel awful? Yes.
Yeah, does it make you really mad? Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah, but, you know, hey, Cubo, he's moving along, Chin Size, working on that Fatalis, but he's fighting the Serket that's kind of a Deathbringer before he finishes Fatalis. This game needs to go about 75 minutes, I think, for Paradigm to win.
I think so, yeah.
Well, Paradigm seemed to be in it to win it. We haven't even seen these frustration surrender vote come out from anybody on screen.
It's still Aphrodite Kali, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
An hour-long game, 55 minutes to 70 minutes period, like, they win, but...
Can
they
you
just
get
have
there?
to wait. They just have to wait. Hopefully Titan make a mistake and they can capitalize off that.
A lot of damage coming out against Titan right now. This might have been a little bit aggressive. Paradigm really turning things around. This Isis ultimate going to be down. Not going to do enough damage. And Kanye Life gets the first kill.
Yeah, that was the weakening curse. They were trying to wait out the weakening curse to pop that ultimate and get the healing back. Unable to secure it. Cuba Fred, as you saw, also slowed down so significantly by that weakening curse. Unable to move forward. But now, with his shin size and the hit chain reset, able to get a good bit of damage out. Ataraxia with the ult. Trying to dash out Bologna. Not happening. Trick Sync down as well. That's 2 members gone for Paradigm. Tier 2 now in trouble as Sylvanas is able to heal the team back up. You got to think, if Sylvanas gets his Lotus Crown online here as his 3rd item and skips Heartward, like, how do they ever stop the push?
So much sustain. It's raw light almost. Just able to just heal themselves up and keep on going. That's exactly what Titan is doing here at this mid lane tier 2, just 15 minutes in. Very, very fast game for Titan.
Well, and when you think back to the European MVP vote, right, Zeros was actually not voted MVP of Europe. It was pretty prime for the mid lane position, even though Zeros statistically was by far the better player this split. But maybe a little bit of indication why here. Pretty prime, 12 kills, and he's been in all 12 of them. 2 kills, 10 assists to his credit. Giannis has been everywhere on this map.
Literally everywhere. Yeah, and it's been an absolute nightmare for Paradigm.
Paradigm just not able to escape the crosshairs of Titan. They're always around, even here in the dual lane, which was doing all right for Paradigm. Now Titan has shifted onto the left side of the map to really create that unease feeling for Paradigm, even in their dual lane that, as we said, Funball is hanging on, but can't even get his purple buff.
Serket's such a good pick when she's ahead.
Yes.
Versus Bologna. Because, like, you have Bologna's, right? Like, with the team composition here, right? You think, like, okay, we'll get the Aphrodite, we'll get the Kali, we'll have Bologna disarm whatever hard carry, so Kali can get in and do the damage. But they can only really stop Freya's damage out because Serket is so ability focused that there's very little Bologna can do there as the support and really the only true frontliner until Aphrodite has, what, another 2 items at this rate.
1 basic. That's all.
Right, just
Serket
1
needs.
basic.
1. And the poison lasts far longer.
Ooh. That's going to do some damage, and here comes the Wrecking Squad. Titan is in there. Disarm hits 3, beats away by Kanye Life. The ultimate to kick Lobster out of his circle of protection. He runs back in just because it feels better there. He can't heal up from it. There he is. Now the poison is off. He can heal himself. There's the Wing Gust, and they've successfully dodged Titan's aggression for now. Tricksnake may get chain slow. Yes, it's a nicely placed Madness coming out from Reppy. Moving in as Kanye Life. The root, the pluck, the disarm. Config going to try to get him at Pretty Prime. Hits him through the wall. Unstable Vortex securing that one. 13 kills, a 2 now. Still as Titan continues to roll forward.
They got out of that. Paradigm had escaped, and they still can't escape. Tough stuff for the black and yellow squad in this first game here. But good thing is, I mean, this game isn't over, of course. A lot of Smite to be played, but it is a best of 5. So they do have a number of games to perform.
Titan have to be really careful doing stuff like that, though, because one small mistake, and they could be straight back in the game. If they wipe them there, then that could be a goal free for them or anything, you know?
Right. But with Fatalis not done yet, it's still really tough, right? When Fatalis is done, it gets really dangerous because Kali can walk down your whole team. Good news for Paradigm here. They have 2 kills. Not so great. But those kills are on the 2 best characters it could be on, I guess. Kali and Rom.
Very true.
Obviously, as we've kind of indicated, the carry potential is significantly higher. The top end for Paradigm, when everybody's worth 15,000 gold, Paradigm is going to be the better squad. But oof, Titan, Reppy is way out ahead.
And we've seen this during the summer split. I mean, it's the joke around with the Paradigm guys that, you know, Lobster's our feeder and we win despite that. But all jokes, all good jokes, are rooted in a little bit of truth. And the games that Lobster hasn't actually had a good KDA, Paradigms can still come out up on top, especially when you consider Isis. We were banking on the fact here in the booth, we were talking about during picks and bans, Isis, we're not looking for the damage out of her. We're looking for the stuns and the silences out of those spirit balls and the silence. And guess what? That doesn't really change with her being behind. So if we can still get that utility out of the mid laner for Paradigm, that's all right, as long as we get to the point for the other
you gotta
carries.
have that. I mean, you gotta have at least some amount of respect for the magical damage, right? And Lobster's putting just no pressure out in terms of the itemization that Titan's gonna be forced into.
Very true.
So when they go into Witchblades and Midgardian Mails as their 5th items here, Kali has a very hard time dealing with that.
That's the truth. She'll have to really rely on her penetration.
Oh, did he catch the roll? He caught the roll. Funballer's dead. Amazing play by Kanye Life there.
Brilliant.
I mean, you saw him. He got the root, walked forward, waited for the roll, caught it out. I mean, that's
it was fun because it was intentional. Right?
Okay, this could be a big deal. If QFred's able to secure this kill for himself, Ataraxia realizes it's pretty much all done but the song and the dance. QFred picks up his 2nd kill there. Chinsai's doing a lot of work. Feels good. It's a step in the right direction.
Unfortunately, it would have been great for them if Funball survived that there. That would have been really good for them.
But
here
unfortunately, they get 1 kill and lose two towers.
Yeah, Titan's walking in the direction they want to, right towards a Phoenix, and this might be one of the earliest. I mean, I don't know if they're going to siege this part, but this is the earliest look at a Phoenix that we've seen all tournament.
That's probably the weakest part of this team is going to be breaking the base.
Yep.
They have to basically take the fight and win the fight like at the Phoenix. They don't have anything to really siege very well with. As Reels mentioned earlier, right? Confree, once those steroids are down, there's not much you can do. QF Fred trying to make the hero play moving forward. He'll eat a lot of damage there, and the Circuit ultimate as Titan tries to disengage. It looks like Paradigm wants to keep fighting as Eagles rally available. It is! Here he goes, 3-man stun. 1 beats the way. Confree turns and puts out those gumballs of death. Spear Ball hits 2, but as we mentioned, Lobster, not a lot of damage to his name, not a lot of itemization, not doing what it could do at 20 minutes for an ISIS.
No follow-up. I mean, the team was... It looked very interesting. It looked like a communication breakdown right there. Trix Tank went in and got a great stun and a great position for the ultimate, but Paradigm lagging behind, not really able to make the foot traffic to get actually in that fight.
But amongst all this, the Kali and the Afro are still doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, that's probably why they're not surrendering.
Exactly.
Yeah, the pressure onto Aphrodite basically went to nothing after that one attempted gank. Titan going to take what appears to be, yes, it will be an uncontested free gold Fury here. It'll be their second of the game as well.
Ouch.
At the 21-minute mark. And, well, the grass are going to look bad for the rest of this game.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, Paradigm is very far behind, and they're looking to stall. I mean, they got to make up 20 more minutes here without losing the game.
Paradigm really can't be pressing T right now, Bart. It's just going to hurt their morale a little bit. Titan, looking at this tier 2, they're going to go ahead and take it right now at the 21-minute mark, almost on the dot, just 7 seconds above it. Now, I mean, so Reels, you play Hunter for your team, and that's obviously the late game position, and you're looked at as one of the roles that your team kind of relies on sometimes. What sort of mindset does Paradigm have to have here? Because we've talked it. It's going to be Kali and how this works out. How do you sort of get your team to just, wait, I'll do it, I'll handle it, how do you get your team to trust you like that?
Well, in this scenario, it's not really about the Hunter. The Hunter just needs to sit back, do his job, maybe look for some snipes, and hopefully from here the Afro and the Kali can do work. You know, all they need, I mean, when it's getting to the point, I mean, the Afro's level 18, the Kali is only level 16, but once they get nearer to level 20, it only takes one mistake from Titan on the Phoenix, and they could be straight back in the game. So yeah, I don't really know. It's gonna be tricky for Titan to push a Phoenix down as here. They're gonna have to be super careful.
Yeah, one thing to keep an eye on here is that it's, you know, Funballer plays a very big role in these team fights. As Reels mentioned, right, it's not going to be him gas pedaling 3 targets and winning the fight outright, but yeah, that pull just off the mark. Certain death coming the way of QO. Fred dodges the madness as well. Gets the stun. Can they get a return kill here? The chain CC's coming through. Rebecca's, but he dashes out. Weakening Curse use Wrath of Terra as well, but it will be a disengage, it looks like. But as we're mentioning, those astral arrows, it's very important that Rom is able to hit a couple targets and get that Executioner stacked up on them to enable that colleague damage. Looking at the Lotus Crown on the side of Sylvanas, you can expect all of those targets to have bonus physical protection.
Jumping in is
Rally's
Trix
good.
Tank, gets a
Perfect.
beautiful stun, and QO Fred's going to get another kill into his win column that'll help out the problems and get the Kali started just a little bit more than she already is.
So the way the bounties are calculated in Smite, it has to do with the difference of your level and their level, their experience and their gold values versus yours. And getting a kill there on that very farmed Repicos as Kali gave him actually a really nice influx of gold that accelerates him through the Demonic Grip and into that Sacred Relic moving into Rada Zahuti.
And this is what Paradigm have been waiting for. The Titan are trying to force a little bit too much. And they're going a little bit too aggressive. And look at the position Paradigm are in right now. They're baiting the Fire Giant off that just one kill. You know, just because they've got a great late game comp here.
There we go. The Banish has come out onto the front lines. They have Sylvanas isolated a little bit here. Trix Tank looking for that initiation. Eagles rally not available again just yet. Ataraxia poked out to about 50% HP as he went to contest that Fire Giant, but will be healed up now by Sylvanas. Paradigm now the ones that look a little bit out of sorts.
Getting away from the Fire Giant is Paradigm. As you said, it was just a bait. We're going to have a blink and a root onto Zelia. Long range hit, just going to nail him. And surrounded by 3 members of Titan, Undying Love is used, but with the 4th hit, Ataraxia shows up, takes out his lane opponent, solo lane down.
Oh, man, I mean, the communication there to get that to work. Root him, and now Funballer's been caught out as well. Yeah, the silence coming through. He dashes away, but there's 4 blinks and a lot of leaps on that team. He ain't going nowhere, buddy. And now Lobster. Well, we know Lobster's dead. He just doesn't have the HP with his level disadvantage to do anything there. And, well, the bright light the Paradigm had for a moment, they've given back now to Titan. Now it's going to be Titan looking to aggress that Fire Giant.
Yeah, I think they were feeling themselves a bit too much after that return kill there.
Yeah.
A couple of guys
all right,
out
boys, it's Fire Giant. We're gonna.
Yeah, they were still 10k goal behind. And that they probably just thought Titan were a bit scared after that. They were still out of position, and yeah, they got caught.
As Bart said, the level of communication as we see Fire Giant taken down by Titan uncontested, that play, the stun into the ultra long, we call raw ultimate snipes. That's a true snipe from a mile away. That was an incredible play by
about
Titan.
60% of Aphrodite's HP as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about how Titan is this one unit, this, one squad with 20 abilities, not 5 different players. That right there is proof in the pudding. Great stuff. Love it.
I'm just so scared of this Lotus Crown on Sylvanas here and the implications that it has. Kali's kill potential is just like, as a whole, the team has so much more physical protection now with this item. It's going to be really tough for her. And now Malice completed as well onto the Circuit. Really, really good at dealing with high mobility characters, getting that bonus damage out there.
She's already top of the player damage, and the Malice is just going to help even more, but quietly. Kivo Fred, well, I guess not so quietly. He's been the shining light for his team so far. 11,500 player damage coming out from the Kali despite having a rough start. That's exactly what Paradigm needs to happen. This graph needs to continue looking this way. Unfortunately, Lobster's just going to be on the bottom, but they need to see that Kali in that 1, 2, 3 spot if they have any chance of winning this game.
Well, Freya has her core online, Rada Tahuti on top of her Demonic Grip and Fatalis. Not really the most impressive Freya game out of Confrey this go-round.
Oh, he hasn't had to do much, really, to be honest.
Couple banishes.
Pretty Prime and Replicas have played absolutely flawless this game.
I suppose he's 0-8, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
been in. Yeah,
exactly.
He isn't getting that reels luck, turning the corner, shooting one in hand and getting the kill credit.
Exactly. You just gotta wait for them to be 1 HP and then you fire your in hand.
Just a little bit of the waiting game right there to see who gets the kill. As we see Titan heading down the left-hand side of the map. They do have Fire Giant, and they've got 4 members of
at this
team.
point, let's actually take a listen in here with Paradigm as they attempt to defend their base at 26.5 minutes.
Can we defend? Yeah, we're defending. Ulting him? Fucking took so much damage there. I took so much damage. Heal up.
We can curse.
Go back.
We can curse. Just wait.
Just get in the hill.
Get out after.
Oh, they got the banners. What the fuck?
We defend this one now.
Defend, go.
Yeah.
Holy scheiße. He ulted me? Oh, I tried to get out of that. Yeah, we can't really fight him.
I'm done.
Can't even have abilities. I know, we fucked
I don't know. We fucked the early, I say.
Yeah, we fucked the early as well.
This is what's happened yesterday as well.
Yeah, well, like one of these games, like we do fucking great some of the games, and then one of the games shit just goes down and dive ult, so you get the kill. Lol, the reset though.
Look at that damage though. We were the ones so bad that game. Good job.
We can still win. What the fuck?
Yeah, well, this is gonna be rough as well.
Why are you so down, like boys?
I'm not down, man.
This is rough.
This is
I thought
fine.
they already
We
finished.
got our list.
This is not over, man. We're fucking Kali Afro.
This is perfect.
Dream scenario.
Boys.
Dream fucking scenario. Let's go.
The dream. We're actually right where we want to be, right?
We can get those free wars. Look at this.
That goal, dude.
The fucking goal. Look at that. I'll get a bit of extra
Guys,
gold on here,
they have
boys.
no heavenly. Listen up, they have no heavenly. When we just go in all in, get engaged. Just do what, like, fucking go all in. Don't let them re-engage, okay?
Okay. Fair play.
Me and XP is like, doesn't matter at this point.
Well, you hear Paradigm down, but not out there. Still seeing the glimmers of hope.
Right where they needed to be, they said. So, I mean, this is just going just the way they wanted. So, I mean...
They've got Titan in the palm of their hand
yeah,
here.
Exactly.
As all 3 lanes, or no, 2 lanes are exposed.
When they picked this team comp, they said, look, we're not going to win until we're 20,000 gold down and 15 kills out of it. But
maybe them early deaths, that was their tactic.
Yeah.
Tactical
Bait
feeding
them
is
into a lot of
taking
false security.
Taking a leaf out of Zapman's book.
Yep, Zapman's been tactical feeding since 2012. But on a serious note, I mean, how could you not respect the Paradigm guys? I mean, the second somebody gets a little negative, you hear not just 1 but 2 members on the team. Don't get down. It's all good. We've got a hyper carry. We're still in this. It happened yesterday. No big deal. No big deal. That's
it's really
what
nice
need.
from to hear Fumble trying to boost the morale of the team, and you hear everyone was a little bit down after they got wiped in their own base there, and then Fumble said some stuff to them, and then everyone cheered up a little bit. You know, they were joking about getting some gold from the wards and stuff like that. So
I mean, how important is that? We always talk about the old platitude about how, competition is 90% mental, but it really is. How important is it to have somebody like Trix Tank say, no, that's exactly where we need to be? Clearly just a joke.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff can always help. Most of the time it does, trying to just boost morale. And even if you lose the game, just trying to get it out of your head and move straight into the next game.
Oh, here we go. They're going to look to make the play. Over on the left side of the map is Titan, but they lost a little bit of speed there. Not going through the optimal path, perhaps getting into the jungle. They will find Trix Tank easy peasy. Oh, Eagles rally. Is it enough? No, it's not. It's definitely not enough. They're just way too mobile. Wrath of Terror used their Q of Fred finding his way out, and now a blink of his own to get away. Q of Fred with the plays. He has his Odysseus bow done as well. And there's a Rod of Asclepius finish now for Aphrodite, so they're starting to get the pieces together, but they're going to lose their third Phoenix here. They basically just have to defend the Titan.
Yep. And Paradigm there, just trying to get some free farm while they gave up the Fire Giant and obviously backfired with the Janus ult.
That's just the way it goes. And also, maybe most importantly with Bologna going down is that the shell is not going to be available for them either to help deal with this assault.
Looked like Titan was just going to go all into the Titan.
Fred got exploded.
Lobster also going to suffer the same fate. Ataraxia with the double kill on top of that one. And you've got two members alive, and right now Titan focusing the enemy of their own namesake. That'll fall down, and the first game goes to Titan in this best of 5.
Well, it was a noble effort there by Paradigm to try to keep that together, but unfortunately just gave up a little bit too much early there. I mean, that's now the second game in a row where we've seen that double kill. That just if you get your jungler and your mid laner killed in the first couple of minutes, not to mention the purple pot, you just saw how difficult it was for them to have any kind of momentum without any threat of magical burst.
Especially when a comp that relies so heavily on surviving in the early game.
Right. And momentum-based snowball. I mean, they really needed that 4 core to make room on the map for Kali to farm, and instead they got outmaneuvered by the Giannis and 4 Blink.
Now, I mean, this is a situation where I would immediately start thinking about game number 2. As an analyst, I'd sit here and say, this is going to be in their mind, this is really rough, but thanks to Kerr's voice, we got the listen in. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I feel like they're just immediately going to say, all right, it's just game 1, we're down 1 this time.
I hope it's not, and I spoke to the players beforehand, and the first game was definitely like a feeling game for them. They wanted to go in, feel how they were playing, feel what they were going to pick, and then go into the rest of the games with a plan. Because they haven't played it. They haven't seen any games from Titan.
Right.
They haven't played against them since the start of the season. They don't know what they're going to do. The first game was definitely a field game for them, and I think that's what they've done.
So that's the luxury of the best of 5. With the best of 3, I mean, best of 1, you got to win. With the best of 3, it's a little bit different. You have some leeway. Best of 5, though, that's an awesome experience. You get to sort of see what the picks are and get the feel for the match.
Get those responses. We'll see also as well. It'll be interesting to see what side of the map Paradigm chooses going into game number 2 as they've lost the first game. But that does do it for game number 1 here from the desk, guys. It's a best of 5, so first to 3 wins. One quick thing before we throw it over to the analyst. Alpha Draft is up and running. Smite events all weekend long. So if you want to have an opportunity to earn real money or prizes, head over to alphadraft.com and check out all of the Smite activity over there. But with that, let's toss it over to Kevin and Hinderman to break down the game. Guys, what'd you see in game number 1?
Welcome back to the analyst desk, guys. Adonis joined by Hinderman this time, and a very dominating win by Titan.
That game from the start, picks and bans. Let's go right back to the beginning of that. Picks and bans was reversed, in my opinion. We saw.
You did say that, yeah.
We basically saw a Titan lineup played by Paradigm. Afro Kali throwing back to the old Cloud9 game days.
Do you almost think that they tried to do that to take it away from it, more so than that they're very proficient in that style
They're proficient in the style of play. Cuvo can play those carry gods, the likes of Kali. Zalia, a lot of people didn't know, but he has got an Afro, has played it before, known for it being comfortable on Afro as well. Not a surprise to see him go for it. In the current meta, that's a potential that we expected to potentially see come back. The Kali in the jungle, maybe solo lane with blink beads, not having to get hog, makes her more proficient and available to her. And it was, to an extent, it felt like a page out of Titan's book, though.
Yeah, it really did feel like a page, and it got... Paradigm got off to a really bad start. You can see the first blood here, and just Repicas hits the double madness, getting both, and then stacks them both up there with the Deathbane, and it was just a quick fall for him.
Big key to notice in this is that a lot of people were saying, why does EU keep picking Surcat? This is the reason we pick Surcat, and this is why we still have value in her, is because that in the early game, if you can go off on her, she has a great early game, she can control and dictate the flow of the game. Look at what happened with Lobster in that game. Lobster was focused down. He was 0-5 in 8 minutes, sorry, 0-4 8 minutes into that game already. There's not a whole lot Akali in the jungle can really do to protect that, and a Bellona support, well, she's got to disarm.
She has to ult, really.
And she's got to ult, really, to do anything else. So it really put the pressure on early, and Titan could dictate the pace of the game.
And like you said, dictating the pace of the game seemed to be the thing. Early on,
It needed to be.
we took a look. I think it was 8 minutes in. It was 5-0 and 2. Repikas was. I mean, he was all over the map. I mean, he primarily focused Lobster and shutting down that Isis, who had no peel, had nothing to do. But he was also all over the map. And you even saw about 8 minutes in, he put pressure on Zaylia as well. They knew they couldn't really kill him. It was an Afro with beads and all, but they forced it out.
Zaylia played it well because we saw him right at the start of the game begin with beads. So he knew the possibility of being focused on playing that Aphrodite in the lane against a Hades. Circuit comes in, forces ultimate, look for the kill. Beads early was good from Zaylia. He played the lane well, didn't feed, didn't die in the lane. Just couldn't transition it. The team were too far behind it elsewhere. They just couldn't get themselves going.
You know, you mentioned he was playing fine, but they did last pick Afro into the Circuit already. How did you feel about that matchup? Is that something they had planned?
I think Zaylia was prepared to be focused on it because Zaylia, for the most part, people try and bring him down, especially with the meta changing now. Gold Fury's not as important so early on to an extent, so you can afford to lose one while going for a gank over on the other side of the map. So we see more junglers rotate to that solo lane, and that means that he could expect more pressure. Took the beads early on, expected it, was like, well, it's going to be Circuit. I think I can survive though, and he did.
Yeah, and no surprise for anyone at home, I'm sure. Repikas was the player of the game. He played phenomenally all over the map. You can take a look there. 51 fantasy points as well for Alpha Draft, so make sure to get on there and get ready for tomorrow's. It's already locked out for today, but it's daily fantasy site where you can potentially win some money.
Yeah, Alpha Draft, where you can game of skill, where you actually just pick the best players you can, see if you can get yourself going. So good points from him today.
Yeah, and you know, all of Titan though played very well. There's something you mentioned to me, and it almost didn't come true, but I'll give it to you. You said Titan, they had to get 2 Gold Furies before 20 minutes if they were planning on winning that game.
And the reason being is because Afro Kali, you could see that even when Titan were ahead towards the end, then they could have potentially ended, but they were against the Afro Rama, who were still alive, and they chose the Phoenix and the safer option of going back.
I was thinking the same thing before you even said it when we were back there watching, was like, Titan's probably like, oh god, this could. Didn't we lose to this?
No. Didn't we beat somebody with this composition in the same situation?
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to lose to it.
We don't want to do a Cloud9 here. Let's just play it safe and go back because, you know, Kali Afro together, they're a bit dangerous. So they played the safer option. They didn't want to throw anything away. They had control of the game. And I respect that, but maybe next time they could go for the kill. But like I said, 20 minutes into that game, within 20 minutes, they needed 2 Gold Furies to get a substantial lead going. I didn't think it was enough unless they did that. And they got it at 20 minutes 52. So, you know, metric system, we round down.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if that's how it really works. But okay, close enough. So moving forward, though, Paradigm on the Chris First and Listen, they were very upbeat. You know, they were taking the loss in stride very clearly. And even Tom mentioned it on the broadcast, is that he doesn't really feel like they're going to go forward and be looking down. I think they're looking up. They understand that they can take a loss, and that's what's really amazing about these best of fives. Is you can take a loss there and still be upbeat. They're not on their last heel right now. They still have a couple games to work.
Reels
with.
mentioned it as well, just towards the end there on the analyst desk, on the main desk as well. Reels has said this was a feel-out game more than anything else between the two teams. What are they both going to run? Good news for Titan though, they got rid of that record that they were having struggled against Paradigm during the Pro League. They didn't win a game against them, and that was when Paradigm began their amazing crusade to get here.
You know, overall, these teams have faced 5 times. And Titan had only won once before this.
Shows.
But it was back when they were Agilitas in the SPL qualifiers.
Oh, wow.
That long ago.
But in that case, then the team was slightly different. Zaylia Funballer were there on that team. It was a different
on Paradigm,
team.
yeah. That was when it was
when
true
TSM,
Team Solo mid, yes.
Yeah, that was the old days. So factor it in. I mean,
it's a difference, yeah.
Honestly, the two teams have come out well. Repikas and the boys of Titan, like, they look good today. They look strong. That rest of yesterday, being able to watch the games played out.
I think that was very important.
That helped them out a lot. I think both the two teams that got automatic qualification to semifinals definitely had an advantage going into this because they got to watch both sets of games of what everyone's starting at the beginning of the game, what they're picking, where the priority picks are going to lie.
I think that's important too. We saw Team Solo mid yesterday. Snoopy on his interview said, you know, the first game we lost it to Fnatic, but it was more of a feel-out game.
Yep.
And you saw them first pick Ymir every single game after that and really take it to Fnatic. Moving forward into Game 2, what do you expect Paradigm to really focus on or try and draft?
I mean, what was really scary? I mean, that's the big question. What was really scary on Titan's lineup that was out of the ordinary? It wasn't. It was a pretty standard composition. There was nothing special that stood out. Circuit. There was nothing more that I could really say that I could see that Titan drafted that we need to see Paradigm take away. Maybe, I don't know if you can hear that from the comments, but the Titan
that was pretty
chanting very loudly to themselves as always. For some reason, they think they're American.
What's wrong with being American?
1, 2, 3 Titan. Everything.
1, 2, 3 Titan.
Everything.
That's
you know
fine.
why? Because EU's 2-1 this slam.
Oh no, that's Paradigm.
Was that Paradigm?
Oh, they were mocking them, is
Oh.
apparently what I was
Wow.
just told. So Paradigm did the 1, 2, 3.
Titan. They said Titan.
They said Titan. That's why I thought it was them. And then I'm like looking at this monitor, and I'm like, they're not doing anything.
That's
They're
not them.
standing there. Are we
That's not
delayed?
them. It looks like no, the
Oh,
Titan's
here's the real one. Here's the real one.
Will they do it better? That's the question.
Oh, of course. I mean, I heard
not
Titan
sure.
scream, so this one's got to be even louder.
I love the fact that one of them sat down and just like, I'm not getting up, guys. I'm just going to sit
No,
here.
they're not. They're right now. They're discussing. Right, they're
Like-
getting the morale up. They're getting ready.
So what we're going to do, guys, we're not going to do a Cloud9. We're going to win the game.
I hope
We're
that.
gonna go to the
I don't know whose
finals.
that is, but I really hope. There we go.
Yeah. Kanye's like, I'm not getting up.
That was more uniformed, though, right?
It was.
It wasn't as loud, but it was
Practiced.
uniformed.
Practiced.
They've had some experience.
Trained
with
and
it.
practiced, and you can see them setting up there. Kanye, pretty good game for him last game. He didn't have to do too much, though. I mean, in fairness, a lot of the backbone of the team there came from Repicas's play all the way through, and it worked out very well for him.
Yeah, and Titan's a team, though, that normally plays as a 4 or 5 man unit. We talk about it. 2.7 APK, meaning when a kill happens,
That's right.
almost 3 players are getting assist around them. They're fighting as 4 or more
The
all
big
the
key
time.
with Titan is it's all around the mid, jungle, and support rotations as a team. Those are the 3 on the team that are big. Pretty Prime, Kanye, Life, and Repicas combining to get that KDA up in terms of 2.7. Ataraxia and Comfrey, yeah, they hold their lanes well, but they're not the ones that they generally go to looking for those kills and to be involved in those kills early on. It's all about the trio around the jungle and the mid lane for control. And when Titan get that going well, like we saw with Repicas going off this game, it really starts to get their team in a great standpoint for those team fights.
Well, that's going to be it for us here at the analyst desk. It's time for game 2 of Titan taking on Paradigm. Bart, Reels, Tom, take it away.